Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch.
Queen Charlotte.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, y'all. Hey. Welcome to Sisters Who Watch.
Yes, I'm Shelby.
And I'm Laura. And we're sisters who watch everything. TV, movies, sports, concerts, and even classical music covers of SZA and Beyonce.
We love.
We love to watch, and we love talking about it even more. Today we're watching
Queen Charlotte. A Bridgerton Story. Shonda Rhimes' Bridgerton spinoff.
Yes, Shonda Rhimes.
Woo!
There we go.
We are Shonda stans.
Yes. Yeah, so getting into the background, I mean, Shonda Rhimes, what an icon in Hollywood.
Icon.
I mean, for so many years, if y'all don't know, y'all better know, she's done Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder, and Scandal. I mean,
and
three of the
Practice.
Yes, Private Practice. Yeah, you watched that. You did watch that.
I said I'm a stan.
Yes. And those are like some of the biggest TV shows ever, like genuinely. It's amazing. And yeah, and now she started Bridgerton. What year did that come out? 2020?
Yeah, it was literally right at the end of 20. When did the pandemic start?
Beginning of 2020.
Okay, so it was I think it was right at the end of 2020.
Yes. It came out around Christmas time. I remember that. Yes, and that broke the internet. I mean,
and what's crazy is we were a little late to the party.
Yeah.
Right. We didn't watch right away, but everyone was talking about it.
Everyone.
So I felt like I had to.
Right. I know.
It's wild.
It broke the internet. Everyone was talking about it. And I didn't really have, I don't know. I mean, we didn't really have an interest. We were like, do I really want to see like a show about this Black man, pursuing this white woman? Not really. But I was like, I need to see
I see it enough in real life.
Right? Yeah. I don't need a fictitious version on my TV screen. So I was just like unsure about it. I know we both felt the same way.
Yeah.
But everyone was talking about it, so I felt like I had to see it. And what did you think about the first season of Bridgerton?
It was great. I mean, given what everyone was talking about, I was like, oh, I don't know, but I was like, oh, this is actually good. Like, yeah. I actually prefer season 2, which I know you haven't seen, but no. I think I was just excited to see more of Shonda. Everyone was obsessed with Bridgerton, so I think it was a slightly overhyped, but I enjoyed it.
I think I agree with that. It like everyone was obsessed with it, so I was expecting like mind-blowing, revolutionary television. And I was like, this is just like a romantic drama. Like I still don't really understand why people are
soapy romance.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. Like Regé-Jean Page is hot, but besides that, like I just didn't really get why people loved it so much.
Why people were so obsessed.
Right. But so that's also one of the reasons why I didn't watch the second season. I didn't love the first season. I've heard mixed things. I heard some people love season 2. I heard other people didn't.
I say it's really good. Don't you trust me?
Of course.
Not enough to watch.
not enough to watch it. But
yikes.
But so, and then plus Regé-Jean Page was no longer on it, and I really was watching the first season for him, so now I'm just like, I don't really care that much. But Shelby was so excited about seeing Queen Charlotte.
Yes, it was on my list of things I wanted to see in 2023.
Yeah, most highly anticipated content of the year.
I was very excited. Right.
So I was like, oh, I should be excited about this. If Shelby loves it and wants to see it, I must want to see it, Yeah. So, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun watch. And of course, I think I also liked it because it was Black woman led,
Love.
The Black woman leads didn't really exist in the other 2 seasons. They were side characters.
The season was like POC.
Yes. That is true. So I was excited to see like a Black woman lead. That was exciting. So I think that's what drew me back in. Shonda knows how to draw me back in. So I was excited about that.
knows how to draw you in. She knows the key romantic tropes. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you start it, you got to finish. She just knows.
Yeah,
She knows.
for
I'm a
sure.
big stan. I mean, I actually read her book, Year of Yes. That shows you the level of fan I
Wow.
am. Yes. Big fan of Shonda. And I think when you think of Black writers, Black showrunners, Black producers, she's it for TV.
Oh my
Like,
gosh,
she is
yeah.
the blueprint. Shonda's who you want to be. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely look up to her, and I think a lot of people who are interested in entertainment look up to Shonda.
Yeah, she's basically running the television industry. It's like everything she does is successful. I mean, pretty much. To have, I mean, Grey's Anatomy is on season 50, so like
Crazy.
it's
I actually
crazy.
finally stopped watching Laura. I gave up on
I
Grey's.
know. I also so Shelby and I have been watching Grey's Anatomy consistently
I
until
know.
like a month ago, a couple months ago, which is absurd because most people I know stopped
I
watching Grey's
know.
Anatomy like 5 years ago. So people are like, you still watch that show like weekly? Yes. But we both stopped once
I
Meredith
saw the
left.
first episodes of this new season, and I
Yeah.
just it wasn't as interesting as it used to be,
No.
and I fell behind, and then I heard spoilers like Meredith is leaving, all this stuff, and I was like, there's no reason for me to keep watching.
Yeah, I saw the mid-season finale where Meredith is like, I'm moving to Boston and stuff. And then I was like, I am not interested in the rest of this
Boston
season.
Meredith. Yeah.
Yes,
Meredith less
exactly.
Grace.
I know, right? It's no longer Grey's Anatomy. Well, so yeah. Anyways, those are
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy break. But in conclusion, Shonda Rhimes has some of the most successful TV shows on television. And
Yes. An icon, an inspiration.
yes, for sure. So with all that said, what were you expecting from Queen Charlotte specifically? You watched both
Yes.
Bridgerton seasons. What were you thinking coming into it?
Yeah. Well, I liked Bridgerton season 1, and I loved Bridgerton season 2. So I think that's
Mm,
why I was really excited for Queen Charlotte, because I felt like Bridgerton was getting better.
mm,
And I also, to something that you said, I love seeing like regal Black people. I love seeing Black
yes.
people in the lead. I want to see the Black woman getting love. So I was excited because I knew it was going to focus on Queen Charlotte. And I also liked how we were going to get some backstory on Queen Charlotte.
Yeah.
You didn't watch season 2, but in both seasons, right, she's more of a minor character.
Mm-hmm.
And there are little moments, like, it's like, why is she the sole queen? Why do we never see the king? Like, there are
Right.
little things that you saw and you didn't really understand.
Right. And what I was thinking, I was like, who is this Black woman queen? And why have we never heard of her?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Wearing all
So
these
it was
crazy
helpful.
wigs.
Exactly. Iconic braided wigs.
Iconic wigs.
I need to know about her. Tell me
I
more.
know. Right, right.
So I honestly just wanted to learn more about Charlotte. And I also think it's something that I kind of forgot about, but this is like a take on actual history, right? You hear about
Right.
the Mad King, like King George. Like it's as a history major, I was curious to see their take on an actual historical figure.
Right. I agree. I think I didn't realize that it was based on a real story until
Mm-hmm.
the beginning of the season, where it was like it's based on fact. So yeah, Queen Charlotte is real Black woman who was the queen, which I'd never heard of this. It's like, where are these stories going that we just
Yeah,
don't
I'll
know about
say
this?
it's rumored she had like African ancestry. Did she look like the actress who plays her?
Right.
Maybe not,
Yeah.
but she had a little black in her. Maybe she was
Right.
a Meghan Markle.
Yeah. Still, and Meghan Markle still counts. Exactly. And I remember like online, I saw a picture of like the real Queen Charlotte and her hair was curly. So I was like, okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
still, so it's cool
From
that,
black lineage.
yeah, so one of us ish, was running England because George, yeah, wasn't really wasn't really in the state to do so. So it was cool learning about this history because I had not heard of this.
Completely agree. completely agree. So thinking about the season, should we jump into our highlights?
For sure. So some of I have to say, when George and Charlotte first meet and she's trying to scale that wall and get out of there, I love that scene.
So cute.
So cute.
In, I would say, like, romantic tropes, that's called a meet cute.
Yeah.
And it was a great meet cute.
It really was.
Basically, when your leads, right, meet for the first time and you it's typically like in a surprising way. I feel like you couldn't have written it any better to have the king and the future queen meet. I thought it was so well done.
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, and it was the reveal of George, and you're like, oh, that's George. He's so cute. That was my reaction. I was like, oh my gosh. Because I literally,
I think it was her reaction too. Charlotte was
like, oh,
you're the king.
She's like, oh, you're the king. Because she was like, no one's telling me about the king. I don't know anything about him. Is he deformed? Is he ugly? Is he mean? And then she was like, oh,
he's not.
You're George? That was my reaction too. I was like, that's George. Because I guess also I didn't really know that much coming into this series either. Like, I just knew it was about, the queen from Bridgerton.
Yes.
So I was like, whoa. Yeah, young George.
Wow.
So cute.
So cute. And they immediately have good chemistry and banter. And, oh, yeah. I love a good rom-com or romance. So I was sold. I was like, great. Okay.
Check. Yeah, and it was funny. I really loved that scene. And another scene I really loved was when George was getting anxious. Like, I think this was maybe the last episode, the episode before, but they were having this big ball, and they're at their house. Yeah, and they were walking down the stairs, and George did not want to go down the stairs. And then Charlotte, looked into his eyes and was like, George, you can do this. Let's go. Just dance. Just look at me. And then they danced, and it was so cute. And they were laughing, and you just see George get more and more comfortable. I was just like, oh my gosh. I loved that scene so much.
It was so sweet. And I think one of the reasons why I really liked this series is because it felt more like realistic about this is what love looks like. A lot of times very soapy and sexy.
Yeah.
But she loved this man who was dealing with mental health issues.
Right.
And found ways to help him and be there for him. And it was just really powerful to me. And I think a really good message about what it means to truly love someone and be married and be in it for the long haul.
Yeah. And as kind of like going off of that, we see that in the last scene of the whole series, that Charlotte is still there for him, gets underneath the bed and is like, George, come talk to me. And she still knows how to really connect with him and relate to him. And yeah, she's a ride or die. Yeah, Charlotte.
She's a ride or die.
Charlotte's a real one.
And I think it's great to see the growth as well of their love and her as a queen and coming into her own. Because I think in the beginning, she was just frustrated. Like, why is George not with me? I mean, I'd be too. He leaves me on our wedding night.
Oh, I was so mad watching that. I was like, what is wrong with him?
Leaves on the wedding night, wants to live somewhere else. It just wasn't adding up. And then, of course, we eventually see his perspective, right? I think it was episode 4. We finally see what he's been going through. And it's like, oh, he thinks he's crazy and doesn't want to scare her away and is trying to get better because of these like awful trying to get better, and this awful doctor is torturing him because back then they didn't really understand mental health. And I historically hindsight that like maybe he had like schizophrenia or multiple personality disorder, like certain things, but back then they didn't know what that meant.
They don't know what that is.
How to treat that. So you see what he was going through, and that he really did love Charlotte, but was scared and didn't feel worthy. So it was really powerful for them to both eventually come together and love each other for who they were.
Right. Yeah. So like unwavering love, that was a huge theme. Like Charlotte accepted him, and he didn't want to tell her. No one wanted to tell Charlotte about the king's mental health issues. And then but she was like, no, tell me, this is my husband, I need to know. And she was the one who was there for him the most. So that was really cool to
Truly,
see.
yeah.
And as we talked about, mental health was another huge theme for
Huge
this
theme.
series. Like you said, like they didn't know what mental health was. Like that, they were like, it's a disease, it's a sickness, like all this, they didn't know how to treat it. And instead of, you know, giving him grace and compassion the way that Charlotte was doing, they were literally torturing him. That was
Oh,
insane.
crazy. Crazy. Yeah, that's why I think it was so good, because they did like very like strong messages, and it was very topical, and
Right.
not just your like, I feel like Bridgerton season 1 and even 2 is just very like romantic, fluffy, sexy, and
Right.
this had something bigger to say and
Right. It
more
felt
to
like,
tackle.
yes, it was saying something very distinct and very powerful. And I agree. Whereas, like, what was the takeaway from Bridgerton season one?
That
That
Roger John
Regé-Jean
Page is
Page
hot.
is hot. That was the
That was the
takeaway.
takeaway.
That
That
was the
was the takeaway.
takeaway. Yeah, I agree. So I think that I think I enjoyed watching Queen Charlotte more than Bridgerton season one. I can't, I'm interested I'm wondering how you think and how you feel,
Yes, I'll save
seeing
it for the
season
end.
two. Yes. So yeah, I just loved the messages in this, loyalty and just true love, and mental health, like such important topics. And I think they
Completely.
did it in a way that wasn't like too on the nose or pandering,
Exactly.
It's felt like they're really just telling a story,
Mhm.
and the audience just took those messages away.
Completely agree. And I'd say another storyline and like favorite moment and message that I loved was like Lady Danbury, like
Yeah.
choosing herself and not marrying the queen's brother. I think her storyline really showed how it's hard to be a woman, particularly in those days.
Mm.
Um, you need to have a husband. You need to be married. She was married to what promised to her future husband as a like kid,
She
and
said
she was
3 years old.
groomed.
That's
Yeah, she was
insane.
groomed to be a wife, and that was her existence. And then
Oof.
finally, when the awful Lord Danbury passes away, she can
Yeah.
be on her own, and it's freeing to have attraction to someone for the first time, and then to have power and control of yourself for the first time. And I just thought seeing her kind of come into her own as like a woman without a man, and then deciding, no, I'm not going to marry someone and move to a new country
Yeah.
to have their kids and support them. I'm going to live my own life and be powerful
Yeah.
here and
Yeah.
be Lady Danbury. And then we know, like in present day, she is a boss,
Yeah.
and
Super close
people
with the
go to her,
queen.
and she's
Yeah.
very powerful, and she's close to the queen. So I just love seeing that aspect of love and that aspect
Yeah.
of living your life, because she chose to like love herself and give
For
herself
sure.
that kind of opportunity, instead of picking marriage and then being stuck in that life again.
Yeah, I thought that was really admirable. I mean, especially the queen's brother was so cute. I don't
I
know if I could have turned him
know.
down.
He
I
seems so
liked
nice. I'm like,
him. I
wow.
know. Wow, I know. I
Nice and
mean,
cute.
that's a great offer. Move back to Germany, live the nice life. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I she's better than me. I don't know if I would have made that decision. So it was cool to be like, even though he's young, like he's attractive, he's nice, all of that, and he has, he checks a lot of boxes as, modern day society, whatever. But she still was like, I cannot just have more babies and support a man and live for a man. Like she could not do that anymore. So that was great to see. She had a great story arc this
She had a
season.
great story, and I'd
Really good.
say going in, I didn't realize we get as much backstory in Lady Danbury either, and I'm glad we
Mm-hmm.
did, because similarly, she's like
Yeah.
a secondary character in Bridgerton. In Laura's season 2, she's, I would say, like a bigger role.
Yeah.
But it was cool to get to know more about her, because it's like, yeah, she's like this widow or single woman in present day, and you're like, how did that happen? And like,
how did
what's her
she get to where she
backstory?
is? Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
So
and
that
I
was helpful. And then what was kind of surprising is you don't realize you're also getting backstory on Violet Bridgerton, because you find out that that Lady Danbury's boothing was Violet Bridgerton's dad. Do you remember that
crazy.
twist? It was crazy.
Wait, why? That was her dad?
Did you not get that? Oh my gosh, Laura, did I
I
just
don't even think I got that. Maybe that, okay. Was
did you
that,
not?
oh, Violet was the one in the field walking with her dad.
Yes.
Got it.
Because remember she was making the hats and she
Oh, I
sees
see.
Lady Danbury with a hat in her house and she's like, huh. And then
Okay.
she puts all the hats out in one of the final
Yes,
scenes
yes. I
and they
remember
have
that.
like a very tense conversation
Right.
and eventually they never say anything but they come to an understanding like
Let's leave it in the past.
let's leave it in the past.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought that was such a cool moment.
Wow. Okay, so I remember that weird conversation, but I was just like, maybe she's insinuating that she like had an affair or something. I just didn't really understand it, but that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, she
Wow.
had an affair with her dad.
Wow, that's
Crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was
Because
another favorite moment for me.
right. And but I guess I mean Black don't crack, but I'm like, they look like they're the same age. Because I was like, what? No, because when you said that, I was like, how is that possible? Uh,
Well, remember she was young, right? Because she married Lauren Danbury very young.
yeah.
So maybe they were like they're 10 years apart or something, or like 12
Yeah,
years
that
apart.
could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out how old Lady Danbury was. Like 20? She had four
Probably
kids.
probably like 25 or
Yeah,
like
that's what I
yeah,
was
22.
thinking. Probably
Yeah.
like 24.
But like you
And
get married
yeah.
at like 16 or 15 or something and
I
yikes. Yeah.
know. And when the queen said Charlotte was like, I'm 17 years old, I was like, I could not have I could not
Could
hang if I was
never.
back there. No, 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 no,
Could
no.
never.
I was born in the right century. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
So wow, yeah, I didn't realize
Yes.
that
I
story
thought that
about
was a really good scene. And I also
yeah,
liked how in that present day storyline, they both talked about how as like widows and older women, they still can be like sexually pleased and have pleasure. And I
right.
feel like that's
Yeah.
something you don't typically see. So I
No,
appreciated that. I feel like again, the show tackled a lot of different messages. And like
for
you said, not
sure.
hitting the nail on the head, but
Yeah.
subtly hinting at things.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. That was a good scene.
I
And
mean, clearly, I have a lot of favorite moments. I'd say my
yeah.
last one is I really liked the relationship between like the Queensman and the Kingsman. Are those
Yeah.
the terms like Brimsley?
Brimsley and the other guy. I don't remember his
Yeah,
name. Yeah.
I loved them and their relationship.
Yeah, me
And the
too.
scene at the end when you see Brimsley dancing alone in
Yeah.
on the grounds, my heart broke. I was like, I can't. Like the
I
show got me multiple
know.
times. I was like, "Ooh,
What happened to the other guy?
you don't know." Classic Shonda, just
Classic
leaving us
Shonda.
hanging.
Yeah, that was. I know it's like, and Brimsley at the end when he was talking to Charlotte was like, "I've only lived for you. Like I don't have family and stuff." That's so sad. Seems
It
like a really tragic life.
so
Oh my
tragic,
goodness.
so tragic.
Yeah, that was tough. But Brimsley, I agree. Highlight anytime he was on the screen, modern, like present day, but also in the past. I enjoyed Brimsley for sure.
Big fan.
Yes. Okay, so we talked about some of our favorite moments, but I feel like there aren't that many least favorite moments, I would say. I mean, I know we both every time Lord Danbury was
Ugh.
on scene, who like the casting, I'm like, who is that actor? They
I
made him
have
look
to feel like they
bad.
put some crazy makeup on him.
They made him look
They
horrible.
have to. Because I remember I looked up the cast and I was like, I don't see anyone that looks like him. So I was
No. He looked
like, they
horrific.
clearly did that actor dirty. So I
Yeah,
will
wow.
say, in the beginning, I was a little tight that they did Lady Danbury dirty like that. and that was her man. But that was the reality, and I think
a lot of women had to marry men like
that.
Ew.
Which is nasty. So that's
he was
why
so old.
Lord, he looked disgusting.
He was horrible.
I was kind of scared every time he was on the screen.
I know. The makeup artists were so rude. My goodness.
So rude.
Yeah, so literally anytime we saw his face on screen, I was like, like jump scare. Jump scare. And I will say another least favorite was like in the beginning when King George was just ignoring Charlotte and he like sent her a dog, and I was just like, what is going on? I was so mad at him.
When he like wouldn't join her for dinner, it was just like, what is happening?
And she was like, oh, aren't we supposed to, be together on our wedding night? And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, to do my marital duties? I was like, what is wrong with him? I was like, she's being so reasonable, and he's like yelling at her.
Literally insane.
Oh my gosh.
So that's why it literally didn't make any sense. And you're like, what is wrong with this guy? And then once you finally understand, you're like, oh. But in the moment, I completely agree.
So irritated.
I was so mad with King George.
I know. So that I hated seeing Charlotte in the beginning, just like by herself on her honeymoon. That was so sad.
So young, thrown into the situation, can't see anybody.
I know, doesn't know anyone, doesn't speak the language, all this stuff, and it's like, and my husband won't even see me. Are you kidding me? It was horrible.
And she never had any alone time, right? Brimson was always there. Everyone was always around. She was wearing all these outfits.
I know. She said she had to right, and she said she had to get changed 3 times a day to sit and eat. No thanks. No thanks. That sounds horrible.
So that's why it's really, I think it's great to know that, right, they end up having so many kids, and they clearly had sex one time, even when they're about to have dinner. Like, they clearly had a love and affection, and it was great to see the evolution of that.
For sure. And speaking of the king and least favorite moments, anytime that doctor was so creepy. The king's doctor did not like him at all.
Did not like him. Yeah, anytime the king was being tortured, I could barely look.
Ew, I know. He had leeches on him. That was horrific.
He was burning him. I'm like, how is this helping his brain?
No. Yeah.
No way.
That was wild. Seeing all the stuff they were doing.
No way.
Yeah, that was really rough to watch. Yeah, I felt bad for the king. Yeah, that was really tough. It'd be interesting to see how they would, how they would treat him now. Yeah. How would they diagnose him and stuff like that. Because what they were doing was just horrible. Do you think the doctor was being sincere, or do you think he was just torturing him for fun?
He was giving he thought he knew what he was doing. So yeah, I honestly think he thought he was being sincere, and maybe deep down he had a masochistic tendency in him,
and was like, I'm torturing the King of England.
Yeah, but outwardly he gave oh, I'm helping and this is what I need to do. It was very convincing.
Yeah. I'm torn because why would burning him help his mind? That doesn't why is putting leeches on him? That just didn't make sense.
What did you study that made you think that was
and he was treating him like a dog. It just, I don't know. It seemed extreme. Very, very extreme. So yeah, I'm not sure if he had pure intentions, but you could tell that some of it was helping, to a certain extent.
I think the moments when he was get out of your head, relax, stuff like that helped. The extreme physical harm, no. But I think that's, you saw that with Charlotte too, which was I'm here, relax. I think that helped him for sure. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's tough. It was tough.
Definitely. Okay, so on to our categories.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So we kind of talked about it a little bit. But for love to hate, I had King George because I did like him, but he just, even, yes, he had severe mental health issues, but still, I feel some of the things he did to Charlotte in the beginning were just not justified. you're like, oh, I'm scared, I don't want to hurt her, but you're just gonna isolate her on our honeymoon and not give her any explanation.
It was misguided.
That was it just didn't make any sense. Like, yes, you're trying to protect her, but there was a better way than to just completely shut her out and make her feel insecure and be like, oh, he hates me. And she was just so miserable. And it's like, why did you have to do that to her? So I was really annoyed by him. And I have sympathy, but I still can't excuse the way he treats Charlotte in the beginning.
I agree, and I hate to say it, but that's why it's the love to hate.
Right, exactly. We don't completely hate him.
Like, I really empathize with this character, and I love the love story that he has with Charlotte. Yeah. But I agree, I think particularly in the beginning, he could have realized, hey, this is my wife, and she has married me, right, for better or worse. Let me come clean and be honest about what I'm going through. Yeah. And I wish he had done that instead of trying to push her away and keep it a secret.
Right. And yell at her. I am your king.
That hurt her a lot, and it hurt the relationship. Like, it delayed them getting close. So I agree.
That was rough. The honeymoon period was
rough. Not a honeymoon.
No. And we have a lot of hate to hates for this.
I guess so.
Yeah, as we talked about, the doctor was horrible. I think that evil. He got, like you said, a masochist. He was getting joy out of a sadist that's getting joy out of hurting people. Yes. He was bad. And also, we haven't talked about the princess, George's mom, a whole lot. But I think she had like mixed, I think she had good intentions. She wanted to protect her son and stuff, but the way she went about it, talking to Charlotte and Danbury, it was kind of condescending. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's someone that's like the product of her environment, and I agree. Like, it seems like she was trying her best, like trying to protect her son and the throne and the kingdom, but like you said, condescending. She's had some comments like make the queen lighter in the portrait, and I was like, yikes.
Like, oh.
I was like, are they having sex? When am I having a grandkid? Like, it was a little insensitive.
She was like, bed her.
Like, I know, mother, I know. Like,
princess.
Like, she was so focused on the kingdom, and to an extent, right? Like, she married the king, and then had a king, and like, this was what her life had become.
Yeah.
But I still think a lot of it was misguided and rude.
Definitely misguided and rude. So she falls within the category. Yeah, Lord Danbury, we talked about enough. Nasty.
The dentures, the makeup, the look,
the hair,
he had
and
sex,
he's just so
the way
old.
He walks, the way he talks.
Everything.
I literally, kid you not, could barely look at him.
Every time he was on stage, on screen. Like, jump scare. For sure. Lord Ledger, I also didn't love, who was, Violet's dad, who Danbury had a little thing with.
I don't know if I'd hate to hate him.
Yeah, maybe more love to hate, but the way he just immediately like cut things off with her and was like,
no, without saying, it's like, I wish they were able to have like a more closure.
Right.
And a more formal
he just
ending.
Ended things out of the blue.
And it seemed like it's because all of a sudden Violet wanted to go on the walk, so he couldn't be alone.
Right.
But you should be able to get away. Or find a way to send a note or something.
Yes.
But I agree.
Yes.
The way it ended was rough.
Sorry. Yeah. The way it ended, I didn't like it. And it's like, you've been flirting with this woman pre-Lord Danbury's death. And then you just like, oh, sorry, like cutting it off immediately, no closure, no conversation. It was just very weird. I didn't like it.
Clearly it meant something to Lady Danbury because she still had the hat.
Right.
The little crown that he made for her.
That is true.
Yeah, so for me, I guess I like that even though he ended it badly, what he gave to Lady Danbury, I think, was so important for her.
Right. It was an important part of her story. I agree with that. Yeah, and then you have one more hate to hate.
Yeah, I felt like the queen and king's kids were annoying. Like I understood they showed that to show, oh wow, they do love each other and have a lot of kids. So you're like, how do you get to that point?
Right.
And then how it is hard to like be a mother and to them when your
Yes.
husband has these mental health issues and you also have to think of the crown. So
Right. And
again, I
she's
like
doing
the
everything.
messages that they
Yeah.
were showing. Yeah, like the queen had to do a lot, and certain things made it were tough. And Brimsley said that like you have been focused on the king, so your attention has not been on your kids fully. So I thought it
Right.
was a good message. They just were giving spoils. Like, mom, I
Yes.
don't want to marry. I just want to have sex with mistresses and have
Right.
kids out of wedlock.
She
Like,
was
it was just
being very
annoying.
reasonable. She had
Yeah,
13 kids and not one of them can produce an heir. Are you
that's
kidding?
crazy. Come on. Like,
Get it together.
get it together. She
You're gonna
wasn't
let the
asking that
bloodline
much.
die? Yeah, exactly. She's not being unreasonable. So I
Yeah, I
agree.
thought they were annoying.
Okay, Shelby. So tell me, who did you love to love?
I mean, of course, Queen Charlotte.
Iconic.
Iconic. She's great in Bridgerton. She's great in her show. Like, I also was blown away how they were able to cast people that looked so much like the other
I mean,
characters.
twins. My goodness.
Unreal. Hair looked great, skin looked great, clothes looked great. Such an authentic actress. You believed her, you wanted to root for her, you felt for her.
And gorgeous, both of them.
Stunning.
The older Charlotte, younger, like, wow,
Yes, Golda and
beautiful.
India are both like stunning.
Yeah, wow. I totally agree. I loved Queen Charlotte. Every time she was on screen, she just was always herself. She didn't care that she was just became queen like 2 minutes ago. She was like, "No, I'm your queen." She
She
would say that all the
embraced
time.
it.
She said that to the
Yes.
princess too, the mom. She was like, "I am your queen, and you will listen to me."
Wild.
I was just like,
The
"Yeah,
energy we need.
get them, get them." So I just loved how Black woman just doing her own thing, did not care what people had to say, did not care at all.
Iconic.
I loved it. Yeah, Queen Charlotte was definitely my favorite character in the show. And I know that I mean, we both really enjoyed Lady Danbury.
Yes. I mean, Lady Danbury, I think, is great as well on the other Bridgerton shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought she was such a badass in this
Mm-hmm.
show. And a lot was against her, right? She had a not so great husband, and
Oof.
she had to have sex with him every day. Um,
Ouch.
she then, when she was a widow, had to fight to keep her title and make
Mm.
sure that
Her 4-year-old
her
son.
son would still be a lord and to make
Yeah.
sure that she would still have money and a home. She had to choose herself and figure out what it meant to be on her own. So I just, everything she stood for, everything she did, I was like, wow, she's a boss.
I agree. She advocated for herself, advocated for her family,
And
and
she was a good friend to
yeah,
Charlotte. Like when
great
Charlotte
friend to
didn't know anyone.
Charlotte. Yeah, I love seeing their relationship, how they really stood up for each other. And I loved also one of my favorite scenes at the end when Charlotte comes up to Lady Danbury and she's like, "Why didn't you tell me about, your lord trying to get your son to become
Title.
a lord, the title and everything?" She was like, "Do you not think that I as a queen can handle this situation?"
Ooh, I was like, yes, Queen Charlotte.
Get
Yes.
him, get him. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that was so good. And Danbury's like, I did not want to concern you. No, concern me. And it's like, oh, okay. Okay, Queen
That's what your
Charlotte.
friend does. Your
Yes.
friend is the queen.
Yes,
Okay.
your
She
friend
can
is the
handle that for
queen.
you.
Yes, use your friends. So
Okay.
I loved that scene. So
So
yeah,
good.
Danbury was a great character who always put herself, always advocated for herself, put her family
Yeah.
first.
Even in front of the princess, like the fact that
Yeah,
she was going back and forth with the princess and defending the queen, I was like, yes,
I
just
know. I
so
loved
good.
it. Yeah, she was a great character this season. And I know we both love Brimsley. He's
I
just so
know.
fun.
Had to
He's
give
great.
Brimsley a shout out.
I know. So
Even
loyal.
though it was a little tough in the beginning with him and the queen, they eventually obviously cared for each other, and
Yeah.
he was looking out for her. So every time he'd be like, the king needs to say something. What's going on? The queen needs him. So he clearly was looking out for the queen.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, I feel like everyone needs a Brimsley. I would love to just have someone always there.
Where's my
Brimsley? Yeah.
My queensman.
Yeah, exactly. I need a Brimsley. He's also a great character. Okay, so tell me, Bridgerton fan, Shonda fan, like, how did this stack up? What do you think of Queen Charlotte?
I think it's some of Shonda's best work since early Grey's and Scandal.
Wow.
It gave romance, it gave prestige, it gave character development. Right. I felt like I learned. I felt like I loved. I felt like
I grew. I evolved.
I grew.
Yeah. I cried. Yeah, yeah. Everything.
I cried.
All the stages.
It was just. I think she hit what you needed to hit, and I genuinely feel like it's some of her best work because the Bridgertons can be soapy. The end of Scandal, the end of Grey's, the end of How to Get Away with Murder kind of got out of hand.
Yeah, to say the least.
And so I'm like, wow, it was reminiscent of like her early work. So, yeah, I think this is really good. And
but compared to season 1 of Bridgerton.
Oh.
No, I meant season 2 compared to season 2.
It's tough. I think season 2 and season 1 are really hand in hand. Like, I'm sorry, season 2 and Queen Charlotte are really hand in hand for me.
Right.
You know, I love season 2 of Bridgerton. I rewatched it. I just felt like the romance was so strong and the enemies to lovers, will they, won't they? Like, so up my alley. I really enjoyed that. And I feel like some of the best rom-coms, whether it's When Harry Met Sally, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, they play off of that. And I felt like Bridgerton season 2 did that really well.
Mm-hmm.
So I still really like that. But if I talk about like just quality television, Queen Charlotte is really good. So I can't, it's hard for me to say. It's hard for me to say. But they're neck and neck.
Okay. That's good to know.
What about you? How do you feel compared to season 1?
Oh, definitely better than season 1. Because like we said, the takeaway was that the Duke was hot and that was it.
There wasn't much else.
No. So it was really, I really enjoyed Queen Charlotte. And plus, like you said, I think the regular Bridgerton seasons are longer. This is only 6 episodes. I just think the pacing was good. It didn't drag. It was tight. Yes. Yeah, like I think it was really good storytelling. I was entertained. I thought that the characters, most of them were likable, and even if they were, besides Lord Danbury, I think everyone had some redeeming qualities. So I think I enjoyed all the different characters. I liked it. And there was romance, but it wasn't, over the top or like at the forefront where Bridgerton season 1 was like all about the romance and the sex and everything. Exactly.
Like at least there was plot and character development and themes.
Yeah, this had plot and character development. And I really loved seeing the older Charlotte and young Charlotte come together and the different parallels and how their love has remained so strong over the years. And another theme that we've talked about, Black women just holding it down. We have to do everything.
I mean,
make the decisions.
If that is not the theme, I feel like, of all the content we watched.
She had to run the country. She had to run her family. She had to make sure her husband was okay. She was doing everything. Ooh, and people still have the nerve to be like, "You were never a mom to us." And it's like,
that's
oh my gosh.
I was like, these kids, I can't.
That was a wild thing to say. You were never a mom to us.
She is the queen of England. You know what's going on with your father. She has so many kids. You should be able to.
She's juggling 13 kids. Grow up. My goodness. Yeah. Woo. So she really was running the show. She was quite literally holding up the plot of the show and the dynamics. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I don't know what I was expecting. I think because it's associated with Bridgerton, I was expecting something like that, but it was.
I know. It was different. I had to convince you to watch.
Yeah, but I think if you're a fan of Bridgerton, I think you'll like it. But also, if you don't love Bridgerton, I think you would like it as well because it's not so. I think the plots are quite different.
Yes, agreed. Yeah. And I think Mom watched it, because I know she didn't get into the other 2 seasons of Bridgerton as much, but I think she would like Queen Charlotte more.
Yes. And I think that it's not like as like racy or anything. So I feel like most people could watch it and enjoy it.
Agreed.
I don't know if it's like fun for the whole family, but
I was
like
gonna say, I don't know if I would say family friendly, but
it's not over the top or anything. So I think it's pretty
it's PG-13.
accessible. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
For sure.
So Shelby, tell us about our what to watch segment.
Yes.
What are we? Yeah, Bridgerton season 3? Question mark.
For sure. I mean, I will definitely give it a shot. But the couple they're going to be focusing on this season are Colin and Penelope. And
I don't even know.
You don't know who they are because you did not watch season 2.
No.
But Penelope, remember like the redheaded family?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't sound you don't sound convincing. So she's a part of the redheaded family, and then Colin is a Bridgerton. He's like Anthony and Daphne's younger brother.
Okay, yeah.
And they're friends, and she's like always been like the girl next door. And last season they actually get into a fight or she overhears him saying, "Oh, I'd never want to be with Penelope," and she hears it and she gets all sad and upset. And so I don't know how they're going to overcome that, and I feel like he's friend zoned her. And just from seeing them as friends and scenes, I'm not feeling the love. But who knows? Maybe they'll surprise me. Yeah. But I did hear, I think they might have more of the other stories intertwined better. So that's exciting to me. Like if they bring back Anthony and Simone Ashley's character, love. Like bring back that. Yeah. Hopefully we see more Daphne. Maybe Roger Page will make an appearance. I doubt it. But if they do more of that, I think I could get into it. But just focusing a lot on Colin and Penelope, I don't know.
Yeah. I'll see what people are saying. If people like it, and maybe I'll watch.
I'll let you know. I'll definitely give it a shot, but I'm not
let me know.
Excited.
Interesting.
It wasn't on my list for things to look forward to for this year. Queen
I see.
Not for season 3.
And do we think that Queen Charlotte is a standalone? Do we think we'll get like a season 2? What do you think?
It's technically a miniseries.
Right.
But as we know, The White Lotus was a miniseries.
Right.
And now there's a season 3 filming. Big Little Lies was a miniseries, and then they did a season 2. So those are both HBO shows, and this is on Netflix. But I do think if a show does really well, sometimes people will rethink, oh, maybe we shouldn't make it a miniseries. Right. So who knows?
Okay.
But I would love to see season 2.
I mean, I'll watch it. I really liked it. So Netflix, hopefully season
Shonda, 2. Bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back, Shonda.
Write some more.
Bring it back.
Well, it's crazy though. It's so well done. Like you don't need a season 2, but
that's also true. Sometimes additional seasons might not help. Yeah. So yeah, if you leave it alone, Shonda, that's also fine.
I understand.
Yeah, she wrapped up the story pretty well.
She wraps up really well.
Speaking of Shonda, what else have you heard of things that she's doing?
So Shonda has a deal at Netflix, which is why Bridgerton, Ventana, Queen Charlotte, all of it on Netflix. And her next show is called The Residence.
Oh.
And it stars Uzu Doba,
who from Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, many people know from Orange is the New Black. And it basically is kind of like a mystery drama set at the White House, but like Downton Abbey follows more like the people that work there than the actual president. Kind of like an upstairs downstairs vibe. Yeah. So I'm curious. I feel like it sounds like an interesting premise.
It does.
I support Shonda, so I don't know when it comes out exactly, but I know that's her next title, so I'll definitely be watching.
That sounds interesting. Yeah,
right.
I think I'll have to watch that too. We'll probably recap it.
Yes.
Amazing. And yeah, there's, like we said, there's so many up and coming stars in Queen Charlotte.
The cast was great.
They're all just gorgeous. I mean,
stunning.
My goodness. Literally. So I mean, I feel like kind of like with Regency Page, not as much with Phoebe Deniver, but I feel like once you're in a show like this, people just cast you for so much stuff. Like Regé-Jean Page instantly shot up, and I feel like that's going to happen with Corey. I forgot his last name, but who plays King George. I feel like he's going to blow up. I also feel like India. I mean, she's so stunning. She kind of looks like Zendaya.
She kind of does.
Yeah, she kind of does.
British Zendaya.
British Zendaya. I mean, Zendaya's in everything, so I feel like she definitely could have the Zendaya track for sure. Yes.
Completely agree. The cast is great. I'll definitely be following them. Hope their careers blow up.
Yes, it was really such a great show, super well done. Yes. Yeah. So thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Yeah. Hope y'all enjoyed. We're clearly Shonda fans. So if you're not a fan, might not be the podcast episode for you.
Yeah, might not. But follow us on Instagram at Sisters Who Watch.
Subscribe, review.
Yes. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're also on YouTube. So go check us out. Listen everywhere. And yeah, let us know what you think in the comments on our Instagram.
We want to hear from y'all.
We want to hear from you. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. It was so great talking to you, Shelby.
Thanks for the support. Of course, sis. Always great to be with you.